is also live.
Let me check. Give me a second.
Yeah, that'll be cool. We used to do it on Google Meet a lot of times, and then we moved to Zoom because there were a lot of some people, few bad apples, who were trying to take control of hack our um, Google Meet. And although we implemented controls, we realized that Zoom was a better tool to use.
Right.
We are
So
live.
my name is Arun, and I'm based in US, and Ellen is based in Malaysia. But we have instructors based all over the world, and we have audience based all over the world. Ellen, over to you.
All right, so good morning, everyone, and good afternoon in Malaysia because it's 1:38 p.m. So actually today is about interview series, interview questions, and last week we covered on basic Excel. So this week we are going to cover on advanced. Yesterday what we did was we did on intermediate. So we are going to cover on advanced topics. So when you're talking about advanced topic, it's not only how you can actually get a job, you can also add value to your company, because the ideology is when you have Dhoni, MS Dhoni in Chennai Super Kings, or when you have all the top players in your IPL teams or in the Indian national teams, then you have a belief, you have a chance that you not only can qualify but also can win something. The same thing goes for job application. So when you have Virat Kohli in RCB, when you have MS Dhoni in Chennai Super Kings, there is a sense of hope and so on. So the same thing goes for job application. When you know some knowledge, when you have some competency and whatnot, not only you can get a job, you can earn a job, you can also add value to your company. So yesterday topic, what we cover was we cover intermediate, we cover data analyst, we cover pivot table, we cover conditional formatting. And the last question that I asked during the yesterday's session was, what's the difference between Power Query and VBA? So before I proceed, can anybody type in the chat box number one if you can hear me? That means if you can hear my voice, please type number one in the chat box. And please type number two in the chat box if you can see my PowerPoint slides or you can see my screen. Okay, again, I repeat. So just type number one if you can hear me and type number two if you can see the screen. So what is our content for today is actually interview series, advanced topic, Microsoft Excel. So yesterday was more on intermediate, and the last question for yesterday was the difference between Power Query and VBA. Okay, so in an era where full of AI and full of automation, it's better to automate our report. Okay, so why we need to automate our report? Because we can actually once automate our report, we don't have to work hard. We can straight away analyze our data and whatnot. But now let us go to the topic to answer the questions between Power Query and VBA. Okay, so what is Power Query? You have to understand that the word here is query. Okay, Power Query derives from the word called query. In English, in the language of English, query means question. But if we are talking about the terminology of IT, in IT, query is like a vehicle. A vehicle, like for example, if just say I take Air India or Indigo, I can travel from Chennai to Bangalore, Bangalore to Delhi, and Delhi to Mumbai. The same thing also, you can actually use query as a vehicle to extract data. To extract data or to import data, okay, import data from one source to another source. To another source. Okay. So query in IT terminology means is a vehicle where we can extract data, we can import data from one source, and then we can put it in another source. And there are several types of query. Like we have BW query, and of course, some of us got here this term, SQL or SQL, structured query language. Even in Google Sheet, if you talk about Google Sheet, there is a function called query formula or query function, query formula. So basically, query basically means it's how you extract an information or a data from one place to another. So what is Power Query? Power Query is a feature not only in Excel, but also available in Power BI, where you can actually perform ETL. Okay, ETL, whereby E is extract, T is transform, and L for load. So Power Query, like what I say, query can extract data. Power Query also can extract data. VBA also can do that. But the problem with VBA is a bit complex. VBA is complex in extracting data. Why? Because you need to write some codes, okay? Some VBA codes. So if you don't understand what is VBA, because assuming you are new, what is VBA? VBA is Visual Basic Application. So now if you want to compare Power Query and VBA, Power Query is more easier compared to VBA. However, VBA can perform some tasks which Power Query can't handle. But nevertheless, what Power Query can do is it can do ETL. Power Query can do ETL. So if just say you are attending an interview, the interviewer asks you, what is the difference between Power Query and VBA? So you can say that, okay, Power Query is a tool where we can extract data, we can do data cleaning via transformation, and we can load data. We can either load as a table format or we can even load as a pivot table format. However, when it comes to VBA, we can actually do any automation of any manual task. However, we need to write some codes and whatnot. So to give you an understanding, let's show some example. So I've already shared some example over here. So now what I'll do is I'll share in the chat box. So these are the questions that I will cover. In this folder, if you notice in the chat box I share, we have question 1, question 2, and question 3. So let me start with question 1. All right, so let me go with question 1. Okay, so now let us go to question 1. So question 1, we do have a report whereby we need to consolidate the report and whatnot. Like for example, here we have the claims report on January. So what I want to do is I want to consolidate all these files into one folder, into one file. Okay, so let's get started. So what I'll do is I'll just create a new file. So using Power Query, we can actually import data. Not only we can import data from an Excel file, we can also import data from a folder. So now, my friends, can you see there is data over here? If you can see data ribbon and from table/range, can you type number 3 in the chat box? If you can see from table/range, please type number 3 in the chat box. This icon over here. Okay, so from table/range means we can actually import a table to Power Query. We can also import from the website. We can also import from text, CSV files, Notepad, and whatnot. We can also import from a recent sources, or if just say you want to import from elsewhere. Like for example, I want to import from a external Excel file. I can go here. That means import data from external Microsoft Excel workbook. Or in this case, I want to import from PDF also can, or folder also can. So in our case study, what we want to do is we want to import from a folder called claims. We want to import from the claims immediately. So what we do is we go to get data from file and from folder. Once we click this, you will notice that a box will appear. So we need to know where we save. So for example, I save on a folder called 13 October. I click this and question 1 claims. I select this and I press open. So I will open the particular folder, and then this is in this claims folder. Under the claims folder, we have only one file. So what I want to do is I want to press combine and load to. So once I press combine and load to, then after that, you will notice that another box will appear. So I'm going to click here claims and I want to press OK. So once I press OK, so what happened is right now, they will ask you where you want to load. Either you want to load in a table format, pivot table, or pivot chart. So just say I put table and I press OK. So when I put table and I press OK, so right now what you will have is you will only have January data. Why you only have January data? Because in the claims folder, like I told you, in the claims folder, we only have January data. So if just say I select the February and I put inside the claims. The February I put inside the claims, and then when I go back my file and I press right click and I press refresh, you will notice at the bottom we will have February data. As you can see over here, we do have February data. So when I click on this arrow box, or we call it auto filter, we will have the January and February data. So if just say I want to go here, that means we have March. I select the March and I put into the claims. So right now, when I go back to the file and I right click and I refresh, so over here, you will have January, February, and March. Okay. So my friends, do you notice the difference? If you notice the difference, can you type number 4 in the chat box? Okay. So what Power Query can do is it can import data. So what we did was we import data from a folder. We import data from what and so on. So if just say in this case, what happen is if you want to import data, okay, so let me just what I'll do is maybe I want to put as a pivot table. So I'll press right click, and I press load to, and I want to load as pivot table and I press OK. So I press here OK, and then I tick amount and I tick claim date. So we have all the months. So if just say you want to put the April and May to the folder. So April and May, and we put it over here. So you'll see we have already put in the claims report now, April and May. So what happened is if just say I right click and refresh, you will have April and May. So the thing is Power Query also can automate report. That means every month you don't need to copy and paste. You don't need to do in pivot table repeatedly. You just right click refresh can do. But now the question is, what is the difference between Power Query and VBA? Okay, so VBA, of course, we need to have a developer. So what I'll do is I'll just go to a developer over here. So I'll just click a developer. And then, of course, I need to go to Visual Basic. So why I need to go to Visual Basic? Because in VBA, we need to go to the Visual Basic editor to write the codes and whatnot. Okay, so maybe what I'll do is just want to show for this particular file. Okay, so let me just go here. Okay, so this file, and what I'll do is this particular code, I will go to insert and I'll just click a module. Okay, so this module here, what I want to do is I want to write a code. So I'll just put here sub update. Okay, so VBA, the thing is you need to write a code. Okay, it starts with the sub procedure and whatnot. And maybe I want to write a code as dim ABC as pivot table. Okay, because our data is in pivot table, so I want to put it as pivot table and set ABC. Okay, so this one I'll put here sheets. So what is the sheet name? The sheet name, as you can see here, the sheet name is claims and the pivot table is pivot table 1. Claim sheet and pivot table 1. Okay, so I have to write here properly, correct spelling, claims, full stop, pivot table and pivot table 1. Okay, and then after that ABC refresh table. Okay, let me try this. So what I'll do is right now I'll click insert shapes and I'll choose this shape over here. Right click, assign macro, update. Okay, so open this workbook. So this workbook we have update and I select this, I press OK. So right now I press right click and I'll edit the text. I'll put refresh. Okay, let me just change this. Okay, all right. So now this is the button I'm going to click. Just now we write a code. We write this code over here. So this is what they call VBA. So now if just say, I put all the files. That means August, July, June. I put all the files. I put it inside the claims. So once I put inside the claims, what I'll do is, I'll go here. I don't need to right click. I don't have to refresh. I just click refresh over here. Automatically will update. So again, I show you. So if just say I go to my claims report, all this, I put it over here, okay, over in question 1. And if just say I click here refresh, it will change automatically. So what I did is I actually use VBA. So VBA, the problem is, of course, it's a difficult subject. If you compare Power Query and VBA, VBA is more complex because you need to write the codes and whatnot. So this is the code that I use. So I have already pasted in the chat box. So what is this code means? Okay, this code, as you can see over here, sub means, okay, sub is whereby you is the sub procedure. Whereby when you write a VB code, when you write a VBA code, you need to start with sub or function, okay? And then what is update? If you notice, I write sub update. What does it mean? That means the name of the VBA code is update. Okay. And then what is dim ABC? That means the word dim means declaring. Okay. That means we are declaring a variable ABC as a pivot table. So it's up to you whether you want to put ABC or XYZ or 1, 2, 3. You see here, this one is up to you. You want to put ABC, 1, 2, 3, whatnot. But what I mean is, I want to declare the variable ABC as a pivot table. So this one in coding, you will see normal. Sometimes it will declare as a string, sometimes will declare as a text and whatnot. Okay. And then after that, what is set? Okay. So since we have already, since we have declared, as you can see over here, we have declared the ABC as a pivot table. ABC as a pivot table. So we want to do what? Wait, let me just change. We want to set the ABC to be pivot table 1 of the claims sheet. Okay, so if you see here, the sheet name is claims. The sheet name is claims, and the pivot table name is pivot table 1. This pivot table over here, the name is pivot table 1. This sheet over here is claims. So basically, we want to tell to this VBA code, set the ABC to be the pivot table 1 of claims sheet. And then once it's done, then after that, we refresh the pivot table. So that's why this code is basically to refresh the pivot table and whatnot. It's very simple and whatnot. But of course, the thing about VBA is sometimes you have to write a very long codes so that you can actually import data, or maybe you want to actually do mail merge. Sometimes we want to do mail merge from our Excel file to Microsoft Outlook. So sometimes we use this VBA code, or sometimes we want to unhide all the sheets. We can use VBA code to unhide all the sheets and whatnot. So VBA is more to actually doing it's overcoming any manual tasks and whatnot. Okay. So right now, I believe you have a picture on what is the difference between Power Query and VBA. Power Query is more to ETL, extracting, transforming, loading. VBA is you writing a code to automate a task. So let me just repeat my answer again so that you can get a picture. So when people ask you what is Power Query, they can do ETL. E means extract, T means transform, L means load. Okay. Whereas VBA, Visual Basic for Application, is more to you write VBA codes to automate manual tasks. Okay. All right. So we have done for the first question. So let us go to the second question. Second question is, okay, just say your manager were to ask what Power Query can offer. Like I told you, Power Query, we can extract, we can transform, we can also load the data. So person who knows Power Query, they can actually deal with 5 different Excel files, 7 different Excel files and whatnot. Okay. So like for example, over here, let me just go to this report. We do have now question number 2. So question number 2 is, we have this, for example, sales June report. If you see here in this sales June report, we have Asian Pacific, we have online sales, we have Apple stores, we have Europe. So Power Query, what it can do is it can actually import this particular data. So for example, over here, I go to this file. Okay, I want to import data. So where I do is I go to data, get data from file, Excel workbook. So once I click Excel workbook, I'll choose the June report, okay, because wait, this is not a different file. Question number 2, sales June report, and import. So once I press import, and then I select part 1, and I press load. See, there's a difference. Cancel means will automatically cancel out. Transform data, it will go to Power Query Editor, where we will do the data cleaning and whatnot. Load also got 2. One is load, another one is load 2. Load means it will immediately load as a table format. So when you press here, immediately it will load as a table format. So this is a table format. So what Power Query does is it can straight away import data from other Excel file to another Excel file. And not only that, you can also perform cleaning as well. So if just say I want to clean this data, I don't want this space, I don't want this blank space and whatnot, I just want to clean. So how you want to clean? You go to query, you click edit. Okay, so once you click edit, automatically you will go to Power Query Editor. So Power Query Editor is the place where we will do the cleaning, massaging, transformation, data cleaning and whatnot. So if you don't want this column, you can remove. And then maybe you just want to fill down also can. But if you look specifically here, we have null, the row one, we have null, 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 null. So what we can do is we can remove the first row. So we can go to here, under the home, we have remove row, remove the top row. Why top row? Because I want to remove the first row. So top row, and then after that, I remove row number one and I press OK. So we have already removed. So this is how it looks like. But the thing is right now, if you notice here, we have Asian Pacific, here we have Americas, here we have Europe. So what I want to do is I want to create another column which only capture Asian Pacific, Americas, and also Europe. So how to capture this kind of data only? Well, if we look carefully, okay, just let me show you carefully. Okay, let me just unselect all and I select JAN. So when I select JAN, you see here, we only have the region. So I only want to capture the region only. So how to do that is, well, what I'll do is, I will go to add column. I will select conditional column. And then what I'll say is, if just say the column number 4, they are equivalent to JAN. Or if they has the word JAN, then I want them to show the column number 3 because column number 3 have region. So show the column number 3. Wait, let me just click here. Column number 3 and then else it shows us null. Okay, so once it shows us null, so what I'll do is I'll press OK. So now we have this data. So I'll press right click and I will move to the beginning. So now we do have this two data. I select this data, these two data, right click, and I fill down. So once I fill down, so now the data looks better and I don't want this null and whatnot. So I can actually remove and so on. So I'll just remove the null. Okay, and I press OK. So now it looks better. Then I can promote as a header. So what I'll do is I'll use go to home and use first row as header. And then still we have here Jan, Americas and whatnot. So what I'll do is I'll click here. I unselect all. I select iPhone. I select Apple Watch, MacBook, others. Okay. So the other details all I can just ignore. So right now this is our data. Then I select all these items over here, right click, and I unpivot other columns. So right now it looks better because here what you notice, here we do have the region. Okay, here we do have the sales method. Here we do have the product. And then here we do have the months. And here we do have the value. So I'll just put here as a number. So here we have the value and so on. So when I press close and load, you will see now it will change accordingly. Just now was in a many different table, but now this is in a pure database format. But if you remember in my slide, what I said is Power Query can extract. Extract means it can import data, but it can also transform data. What is transform data? Transform data, just now if you remember, we do the data massaging, data cleaning, that is transform data. But now what is load? Load means we can either load as a table format or we can also load in another format. That means when I press here, right click and I press load to. So if up to you, if you want to save space, because sometimes when we load the 91 rows, it will have too much of space. Like for example here, let me just put here, I save as, okay, maybe I save in this file, I'll just put here Excel file. Okay, so yeah, this one I need to put as a VBA code. So macro enable, and let me just save this. Okay, let me just save. Okay, so once I save, okay, what happened is when I go to file and I go to info, you will notice right now it is 41 kilobyte. Okay, the size is 41 kilobyte. But if just say sometimes we have like 100 megabyte, we want to cut the size. how to do is, you can actually, instead of load as a table, you can actually load to as only create connection. So when you press only create connection, you press OK. So, and you press OK. So all the information will be in the connection format only. And then when you save and you go to file, you go to info, just now was 41, but now we have 36.5. So depends, if you want to save, you can actually, if you want to reduce your file, you can load as a connection. But if just say I want to load as a pivot chart, so you can press right click, load to. So instead of only create connection, you can put as pivot chart. Pivot chart means you will have a pivot table and a chart. So you press OK. And then over here, it's up to you. So maybe I want to put the region and I want to put the value. So we do have the region, and maybe the months I can put as a legend as well. So we do have the months and so on. Okay, it's up to you. So if just you want to change this way as you can, okay, and you want to put it like this as you can, up to you. All right. So basically what we can learn is the Power Query is a very magical tool. It can import data, it can transform data, it can even load data as well. Okay, so this is done. Next question. Explain the difference between merge and append operation in Power Query. In Power Query, there is a two important feature which is called the merging and appending. Okay, so let me just write down what is merge. Okay, merge is also combine two tables based on common column. Like how we have VLOOKUP, XLOOKUP, that's how we do it. Append means it's also combined, but you can combine two or more tables, more than three also can, more than two, more than three also can, but based on similar header. Okay, all the header must be same. So to make you understand, I need to show you an example. Okay, so right now what I'll do is I will try to go to question number 3. So I'll go to question number 3. We have this file 1. Okay, so right now, if you notice over here in part 3A, we have customer, we have company name, we have all the details of an employee. Details of the customer. In part 3B, we do have the details of the customer, but it's more to numbers like accounting numbers and whatnot. So if you see here in part 3A, the common column is we do have here customer ID. We have customer ID. In part 3B, we also have customer ID. So what we can do is, if we have one common column, we can use merge, meaning to say, if just say, but the problem is I need to load as a table format first. So I go to data, I go from table / range, and I press OK. All right, so I press OK. And then this one, I can just press close and load to, and I'll put it as a connection only so that you can save up some space. So we have here table 1. In part 3B, I press Ctrl A so that it will highlight entire table. I go data from table / range, and I press OK. And then here right now, we do have table 1 and table 2. So like I mentioned, in table 1, you have customer ID. In table 2, you also have customer ID. So if just say you want to combine two tables, you can actually go to merge query. Merge is whereby you combine another query which has this one common column. Okay, so I'll go to merge query as new. A box will appear. So you can choose table 1. So table 1, we have customer ID. Table 2 also, we have customer ID. Okay. So, but the thing is, even though I have already selected these two tables, I cannot press OK. I am not able to press OK. Why? Because I must select the common column. Once I select the common column, then only I can press OK. So here they will show like a status that the data matches. So when you press OK, and then of course they will merge the table. It's just that you need to expand. You expand, you untick the customer ID because already in the beginning they have customer ID, and you untick this original name. We don't want this, and you press OK. So automatically they will combine the two tables. So that is merge. Okay, so if just say I press here, close and load. Wait, let me just close and load too. So that here will close and only create connection. Okay, so now we have table 1, table 2, and here merge. So if just say I press right click and I want to load to as a table format. Okay, new worksheet. So now if you notice, they have combined the table. Not only we have the customer details, we also have their revenue, their employees, and whatnot. So when you want to merge query, it's basically you are combining tables based on one common column. But if you look at part 4A, we have invoice number, we have invoice date, we have customer name, we have customer contact, and whatnot. In part 4B, we do have the same things. So if just say you want to append combine data based on the same header. What is header? As you can see over here, this is what header is. When you have the same title or header on the database. So append is used whereby you want to combine two or more tables based on the same header. If only one column or if only there's one common column, that is when we use merge query. All right. So I have already covered. So as you can see here, merge means you combine two tables based on a common column. Append means you combine two or more tables based on similar header. Append, we can do two or more tables in one go. Merge, we only can combine two tables at one go. Just say if you want to combine 30 tables, it's not possible. You only can combine two tables for the first time. Then the second time, another two tables and whatnot. Okay. All right. So I've already answered the question. What's the difference between merge and append? So now let me go to the next part is how do you ensure data quality throughout ETL process? So like I mentioned, ETL means is basically what is ETL? ETL is whereby you can extract, transform, and load. See, when you attend an interview, the purpose is to get a job. When you start working, of course, there will be some work, some assignment, whereby you need to actually import the data, transform the data, and load data. And it doesn't involve one file. It can be involving more than 3, 4, 5 files. And sometimes it's a routine task whereby some companies, it changes every day. The transaction changes every week. My company I work, it changes every month. So now to answer this question, how you can ensure there's a data quality? Well, this is where the first step is, let me show you over here. If you look here, this is the report that I have. Okay, so I have a process where I can take the data, what is my output and whatnot. And then this is my final output. Wait, let me show you. Can you all see the screen? If you can see the screen, maybe can you type number 5 in the chat box? Can you all see this? Okay, so I see Prerna is typing number 5 and whatnot. So this is the report. So for example, over here, so I click this and I click this, it changes. So this is just say one report. So just say your manager give you a task and you need to prepare some kind of dashboard and whatnot. So as you need to ensure how to ensure data quality. Okay, the question in the interview is how to ensure data quality. That means the numbers are correct. You need to have what they call as flag. What is a flag? A flag means not what you see in movies, or flag means not what you see in army camp. A flag means in Excel, we mean is the data accuracy. Like if you see here, we do have a formulas to make sure that if it's true. So if it show true means the data is accurate. If it's not true means it will be false, whereby indicates the data are not accurate. So for example, over here, I just changed to 1, 2, 3. When I change to 1, 2, 3, it will show me that this data is false. So if you just say instead of equal and equal, maybe I put here equivalent to 1000. So you'll notice here, this is false. So how a project lead, how a fresh graduate can ensure the task he do is correct, you can actually do a double checking. You can provide this and evidence to your manager that when you extract the data, you have actually performed a flag. This is where we can reconcile the figures. So the data from the system is just say 1000. Okay, maybe let me just show you. So just say from what you constructed, the data is 252076. The data also 252076. So in this case, you do a cross check. When you do a cross check, this indicates the data is correct and there is a quality in the data integration. Okay, because when it comes to data integration, very, very important thing is, it's not how beautiful your chart. It's not how beautiful your dashboard. The very important thing is your data must be accurate. So how we can ensure accuracy is by when we do perform reconciliation or checking. So when we perform a checking and we have a status like this, These can provide assurance to the manager that the data integration is performed smoothly and whatnot. Okay, so how we can do that is to ensure, because by performing a manual checking or perhaps a reconciliation and whatnot. Okay, so my friends, do you all understand? If you understand, can you type number 6 in the chat box? So now I'll just try to go to the next part, which is what approach will you take to lead a team on working data cleaning for a larger project? You see, in real life, it sometimes involves a team. It's not an individual effort, it is a teamwork. A teamwork makes a dream works. So that's why companies hires a group of employees, because employees can facilitate aspirations into inspirational stories. So now the question that your employee asks you, because if you want to be a project lead, how you can lead the team? Okay, rule number one, the step number one is, okay, if you want to lead a team, because I got lead a team before, the number one thing is you must know the deadline. Why you must know deadline? Because this will answer your question of when. Okay, you must know the deadline of the project. Is it before 31st October? Or is it before 30th November? Or is it before year end and whatnot? So rule number one, know when is the deadline. Number two, you must know the process. Process means what? Like I show here, can you all see here input, process, output? If you can see this, can you type number 7 in the chat box? Can you all see this input, process, output? Okay, if you can see, type number 7. Okay, what does it mean is, you see here, input means it is where we can amend and we can edit. Process is the transition. Output is where you share to your manager for them to read, understand, and analyze. So when you are a project lead, because sometimes we want data analyst, if just say your dream is to become a data analyst, sometimes you need to integrate data. Data integration, data cleaning. So you must know where the source come from. So this one, I will use the word, what is your supply chain? Of course, we are not talking about who is your supplier and who is your customer. In this context, you need to know what is your source and what data cleaning you need to do and how's the output to be. Okay, what is the output you needed to be? So let me just show you. So you need to know what source. Okay, you need to know the types of data cleaning and you need to know the required output. So if you want to lead a project, number one is you must know the deadline. So by knowing your deadline only, then only you can arrange the task. Okay, arrange the task and so on. So deadline and then what process? Maybe you need to integrate from SAP. You need to integrate from Bloomberg because there's a software called Bloomberg Professional. Maybe let me show you what is the Bloomberg Professional software. So let me just go here. Bloomberg Professional software. Okay, so let me just show you. So now I'm showing you, this is what a Bloomberg Professional software is. Okay, some companies who work in finance role, investment roles, they will have to extract data from Bloomberg Professional. Some companies, they use SAP. Okay, wait. They use SAP. So SAP, wait, let me show you SAP software. SAP software. So SAP is something like this, because sometimes the receivable, the transaction is available in the SAP. The problem with SAP is you need to have a Wi-Fi and you need to have the username and password to access to the SAP. Same thing goes to Bloomberg also. Bloomberg also you need internet and you need the username and password. So but managers sometimes they want to see in the Excel file or in the Power BI itself. If they see there's no internet and whatnot. So you need to know where is your source come from. Is it from email? It can be in the form of email from other department. It could be a software like SAP, Bloomberg Professional and whatnot. Then what is the data cleaning? Is it every month same file so that you can only do once, or every month different types of file and whatnot? So what is the output? Is it in the pie chart, trending chart, or maybe a clustered column chart, bar chart, and so on? So you must know the process, you must know the deadline, and you must, of course, once you know the process, you will definitely know what are the activities. Maybe you need to set a meeting with the consultants, or you need to set a meeting with the IT people. You need to sign the documents like UAT. Okay, in IT world, UAT means user acceptance test. But of course, this one is not applicable to everyone. But if you are working in a data integration project, sometimes you need to sign some documents and so on. So there will be a lot of paperwork, especially. Now, let me go to the next part. Okay, so now as a project lead, you must know what is the deadline. You must know what is the process. And then once you know these two, you can actually build a Gantt chart. A Gantt chart will tell you what is your daily task, weekly goals, and more importantly, it can help you to achieve your goal, because it can achieve your milestone and whatnot. So when you have a Gantt chart, so let me show you what is a Gantt chart. So Gantt chart also can build in an Excel file. So I'll go to your Gantt chart. So this is what a Gantt chart is. Okay, it will tell you what is your daily task, who is involved, and whatnot. Okay, so a Gantt chart can actually shows the daily tasks and weekly goals and can help you to achieve your milestone. And then most importantly, you must also understand your team members, because team members, man management is a very, very important skill. Man management is a very, very important skill. Why important skill is not everyone has the same characteristics. You see, some people are introvert, some people are extrovert, some people are fast learner, some people are slow learner, some people, they are willing to wake up 4 a.m., 5 a.m. and just on their laptop. Some people, they are not a morning person. They like to do it at the night and so on. So you must actually understand the characteristic of a people, because sometimes what happen is we simply hire people, and if they say our team members or our subordinate don't perform, and of course it creates some kind of conflict, some kind of cushion and whatnot. So the best what you can do is you understand your team members, management, and assign the task accordingly and give them a deadline. So if just say a person who is very good in Excel, then you need to give him a task on dealing data handling. If just say there's a person who is very good in talking, we do have some employees who is very good in negotiating, very good in communicating and whatnot. So give him the task for presentation to the top management. So by that, you have a diversified team members, one for Excel guy and one for communicating and whatnot. But most important thing is you must be a team player. A team player means not necessary you need to be a project lead to be a team player. Being a team player means, like for example, now I give you a simple example. So now we have three people. We have Shah Rukh Khan, we have Tom Cruise, and we have, just say, Ellen. We have these three people. They are working in Infosys, whereby they are involved in a project. They need to advise on data integration and data cleaning and data consolidation and data analyzing. So happen Shah Rukh Khan is on annual leave because he has to take a study leave. Because right now there is a thing called, I mean, the next few months there'll be a paper called ACCA. So Shah Rukh Khan will be studying ACCA. So he will be on 2 weeks leave. When Shah Rukh Khan is on 2 weeks list, these two people have to also perform the Shah Rukh Khan task. But what if just say we have Ellen who is on sick leave? Okay, maybe he is not feeling well and he is on maybe 1 month sick leave. So this person is responsible to perform not only his task, but also his colleague task. Okay, so this is what they call it as team player. Team player means not only you care about yourself and your KPI, but also you are willing to add value to your colleague and whatnot. So, and of course, when you are a team player, you should not concentrate on your work only. You should also have the mindset that you willing to volunteer to help your colleague as and when. Okay, so of course, sometimes it's a very debatable topic, as what happened in Ernst & Young, where one young innocent girl passed away. So this is a very debatable, emotional content, which sensitive content basically. So in this case, you need to make sure your team members are not too toxic and whatnot. Okay, so yeah. So now let us go to the next topic, which is how you will prioritize your tasks in data integration project with tight timelines. So that is why you need to have a Gantt chart. A Gantt chart can tell you what is your daily task, your weekly task, and you can know what is your goals and so on. So how you can prioritize your tasks? By building a Gantt chart. So you make sure you know what is your deadline, what is the activity, then you build a Gantt chart. Okay, so my friends, do you understand? If you understand, as for now, can you type number 8 in the chat box? Okay, so now I want to ask a question to everybody because I've been talking non-stop like a bullet train. So I want to ask everyone a question. It can be, anybody, even Arun sir also can answer. How to reduce the size of the file? So if just say a manager asks you, they have a Excel file size is 100 megabyte. They want to reduce the file because if you want to send via Microsoft Outlook or Google Gmail, it's not possible to send more than 50 megabyte. But the file of the Excel file is 100 megabyte. So how to reduce such file? Can anybody answer this question? If you don't know, you can Google. So if just say the Excel file size is 100 megabyte. So how to reduce such file? Does anybody knows the answer? If just say interviewer asks this, do you know how to answer this question? Or maybe you can ask Google, you can ask ChatGPT. Or if you can't answer, maybe you can actually post this in your LinkedIn. How to reduce the file of a Excel file? Because sometimes Excel file can exceed more than 60 megabyte due to high table and so on. Okay, so Pritika said you convert to XLX because, like, for example, okay, that's one way. You see here, if just say I save this file, so when I save this file, the file, of course, if just say I put here as a normal workbook, so of course it will save as a Excel file format. So you want to convert to a better version. Okay. All right, so we have a mixed answer. So one says XLS. So can anybody type? Okay, so wow, let us see. Arun is typing to me how to reduce data compression and so on. Okay, thank you, Arun. But this question is open to everyone. So everybody, so of course we have, we can also load as connection. So Dharmesh said load as connection. Bhavin said XLB, I mean change the size and whatnot. Okay, so yeah, it's up to you. Okay, so you can almost convert the Excel file to a compressed zip. So meaning to say, like this Excel file over here, let me show you. You just right click and you just can compress to a zip. Okay, this is also one way. All right, so we have a mix and answer. So it's glad to know that people know this answer. We can either load as connection, we can save as a different format and whatnot. Or we can actually change to a CSV format and so on. Okay, so yeah, I think I'm done for today. So far, any questions, my friend? Thank you for cooperating. Thank you for typing 1, 2, and whatnot. And thank you for giving the answers. So in the meantime, got anyone got any questions? If no questions, then I'll pass the floor to Prem Sai. Prem Sai, over to you.
Thank you, Ellen, for your wonderful insights. And I hope everybody has a great Sunday. It's about 1:25 a.m. in US, but I know that it's afternoon in India. So have a great rest of day, and happy Dashara once again. Thank you, Ellen.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, everyone.